So a while back in my video collection, I made a video called America is Egypt and Israel, right? So you guys deny me, in my information, the hard work that I put on to uncover this type of stuff. I'm not going to the clubs and partying and dancing and getting drunk and trying to spend my night with the next hooker. I'm not trying to do that, right? So I spend most of my time taking care of my family and researching the hidden secrets that the Illuminati has kept from us, right? So I put together this video with white people and black people both telling you that Egypt and Israel is over here in the Americas, in the North America, and Babylon also. So since you guys deny me, and it's pointless for me to put in all this hard work, right? Deny all these other people telling you the same thing that I've been saying for years, because I've been putting out this information for years. I just don't have my one YouTube channel. It was deleted and I wanted to start all over again. But a lot of people are not clicking on this because they're not searching for it. They're looking for, how to build a shed and prank videos and twerking videos and their next favorite rapper. So I put together this video. I want you to go out and watch it. And by the way, if you guys want to know why, because I've been asked this question quite often lately, like why you keep on, putting up these weird videos of Hollywood and stuff like that, and exposing the celebrities and telling the truth about what's going on. Because most of my life the devil been messing with me, so I figured that for the rest of my life I'll just mess with the devil.
They have discovered the oldest 10 commandments written in Paleo-Hebrew on a stone, a huge, I think it's an 80-ton stone, if I'm not mistaken, on the size of that, found in New Mexico, of all places. Now, Paleo-Hebrew, guys, has been out of use for some maybe 500 years before the modern era, the coming of Christ. And so for a a stone to be found with Paleo, the 10 Commandments of the Paleo-Hebrew to be found inside of New Mexico lets us know that there is a lot of truth that yes, indeed, there is a relationship between the Native Americans and the House of Israel in exile. So I just think it's fascinating. I know that there was a lot of belief that there are DNA references to, or not DNA, but so much as, I think a small DNA portion of the Jewish people related to the Cherokee Indians, but also there's been other artifacts found among the Cherokee Indians.
What you are looking at is probably one of the greatest secrets never told. What you have here is post-flood Egypt. Noah would have landed somewhere in the Americas. The deepest thoughts of this come from, how do you hide the promised land? It's not where is the promised land, but how do you hide the promised land? How do you make sure there's no war on the promised land? How do you make sure that there is no change of government and power in the promised land? How do you make it thrive and blossom? And how do you make it work with all different colors and all different nations? You make it seem like it's not what it is. You place the promised land where you want conflict, where you want war, where you need a reason for war, where you fight over religion and you fight over doctrine and you fight over all different types of denominations and sections of who owns what and where. And with the real promised land, you have the secret of no one really knowing It is the promised land. This is a very, very deep research and a very, very deep concept. I wanted to cover one more thing. People have been asking me about Mexico and Canada. Like, I did not leave that out on purpose. I just did it for reference right now. I want to get a dry erase board and do other things with this map and explain things and do lives with people, and we can go in this deeper, all of us, like, so we can do this together, because this is completely new to me. Either though I know this whole Mormon idea has been around, I think they did have a secret and we just laughed at it. Okay. And you know, this would mean that people of darker melanin were here first. And this would blow the lid off of history, and it would blow the lid off of everything. But understand, we're in this together.
I have already backed that up with Egyptian artifacts, Akkadian, Assyrian, Babylonian artifacts. My friend Harry Hubbard, who says Alexander the Great is buried right there. And if you go to the biblical account, it says Alexander the Great was buried in Babylon. But there even have been rumors that Ptolemy had stolen the body of Alexander the Great and took it to Egypt. Nonetheless, that's either Babylon or Egypt where Harry found those artifacts. And if we were to parallel routes of travel and coordinate them with the same geography from the other side of the world, we would be roughly in the same place. So now that we're here, I think it's important for us to go back to scripture, especially some of the extra canonized sources, to see if there are any gems that we can pick up that might help us on this search for the lost Tower of Babel.
So this guy right here, name is Nicholas Sanson. He was a famous French cartographer, and he was so good, in fact, they considered him to be the father of all French cartographers. And cartographers are just basically people who design maps, like official maps. So this particular map right here is a map of Florida in 1657, and it has a lot of clues on it. But right now, we're just going to zoom in on this part right here. As you can see at the bottom here, they're showing aboriginals of America. And not only that, but look what they're calling America. They're calling it Tamerica. America with a T? Wait a minute. Because see, when you go on Wikipedia and look up Egyptians, and then you go down to the history, they're saying Egypt was known as Tamari.
I was talking to this pastor, and this pastor was like, y'all young people's finding out the secret. And I asked him, what secret is he talking about? He said, yes, America is Egypt. He was like, that's what the Seminole War was about, the Louisiana Purchase was about. And he was like, look up this map. It's called Tamari. And he said, y'all is Tamaricans. So I went to look up at the map, right? And I was amazed he was right. He was like, that's y'all true nationality. And he was like, when the Seminole War broke out, that's when they won and they took over America and started calling them Americans, and they spelt it different. And the Bible is based upon y'all. All pastors know this, Freemasonry know this, everybody know this.
Pyramid on the Nile in Northeast Africa doesn't have stair steps going up it. It doesn't have temples on top of its summits. They could not go and break through the boat on the temples atop those great pyramids. There are none there. And that was the clue that Egypt was writing about the Americas. And the deeper I got into the records, the clearer it got. They started actually saying, and because Amun loved that land so much, he said it's his beloved land, and that word was Mary, the beloved. Mary, M-E-R-I, Mary. And the land, of course, as before, is Ta, the beloved land, Ta-Mary. And they kept that name and just put the Ta on the end of it, so Ta-Mary became a Mary-Ta. We simply say America. We kept the name that Egypt gave to the Americas. So that was the big mystery behind that $10 million map that Martin Waldseemüller made and then put the name America on it in 1507. And then those who knew and those who were trying to hide things said, wait a minute, you can't put that name on here. And the next time he reprinted that map, it was off. It was gone. Because that's the name that Egypt had given the land.
Now you know your nationality.
So this is a depiction of a map of Egypt inside of the book, right? So a map of Egypt. So, and I want to show you Florida, Egypt. Okay, and then this passage talks about the palm trees, right? It talks about it being the wilderness of sin. Wilderness, wilderness, wilderness. See how it says wilderness all over it? Okay, it also points out the mountain peak of 7,000 feet. And then over here, Google search, Florida mountain, 7,000 feet. You have to read for yourself. Okay, it talks about how God sent quails in this book, and not on this page, but it talks about quails being easier to catch at night because they're exhausted. So the Israelites were able to capture the quails. That's in here somewhere too. Okay, so first murmured, that means there was crying and complaining, and then they sent quails. God sent quails, and manna fell from the sky. Manna is inside of the Ark of the Covenant. Okay, and then Moses used a rock to make water because he was filtering the salt water that's in Florida to make drinkable water for the Israelites. Okay, so if that's not enough proof for y'all, I don't know what is. And to add that Florida's state bird is the mockingbird, and they decided, trying to find it for you guys real quick, they decided as of 2021 that they were going to, here it is, the flamingo is in the running to replace the mockingbird as Florida's state bird. They were mocking God, and this is why they constantly get the bad weather, because they were making a mockery of God when God was trying to help the Israelites get through the land with Moses.
America is literally ancient Egypt. Guys, I've been doing research for the last 3 days, and it is absolutely mind-blowing once you really start to dig how much history has been distorted and how much indoctrination instead of education that we've learned. You know, I'm kind of fresh to this. Honestly, everyone needs to go do their own research, but I'm just going to give you a few hints and clues that America is actually ancient Egypt. Now, in Genesis and Exodus, you have God talking about the Euphrates and how he would strike the 7 streams. Well, the Euphrates would have been the Mississippi, and the 7 streams, Arkansas, Missouri, Mississippi, Illinois, Ohio, Tennessee, and the red. It's absolutely crazy when you look at what they found in the Grand Canyons of, you know, Egyptian artifacts, and all the pyramid structures that they had actually demolished and destroyed, and how they had just built over another city. You know, if you go back to the 1800s, there's a lot of discrepancies, and something crazy happened there where they rewrote history. And I believe it has a lot to do with like the royal family and these 13 families that everyone talks about that rule everything. They wanted to rewrite history, and you know, if you look deeper into this, African Americans were never brought over here. They were already here. The Egyptians and the Israelites, you know, would have been of a darker melanin, a darker skin complexion. And they literally lived right here in America. To think that we are actually on biblical grounds is absolutely crazy. And it will completely change the way you look at things, and understanding that the way that they've told history. You know, you have Napoleon Bonaparte, it said that he invaded Egypt in 1798. And then he gained the Louisiana Territory in the 1800s. So the Louisiana Territory was Egypt. You know, these things are crazy, especially if you look at the Rosetta Stone. You know, the Greeks had basically a lot of mistranslation and they put their own story to it, and a lot of mistranslation with it once the Greeks came over here and kind of rewrote everything, where a lot was lost there just in that moment. You know, especially with time, everything, it's like if you tell a secret to somebody, that secret is going to change after 30 people, you know, in some kind of way. But, you know, going back to just saying that America is